I'm now joined by Dr. Oscar Van Heerden from the University of Johannesburg's Center for Diplomacy and Leadership. Every time something like this happens, Dr. Van Heerden, it raises fears of a full-scale war.
No, thanks. Afternoon, Vuyo. That's correct. And I think that everyone who keeps a track record of what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening with Israel, knows that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is spoiling for a bigger war, has been agitating to actually want a war with Iran. And now with the escalation with Hezbollah in Lebanon, it is quite clear that indeed he might get his wish for a broader war within the Middle East.
It comes, of course, at the same time that efforts to broker a deal, a ceasefire deal, have also fallen apart, it would seem.
No, absolutely. There has been peace talks. The United States and others have been pushing. There's been talks happening. The Qataris are involved. But it seems that the two main protagonists, Israel as well as Hamas, is simply not able to come to the party. Particularly Netanyahu's government is not interested, it seems, in peace, in a ceasefire, in the return of hostages. And so it's a very unfortunate outcome because many people was hoping that this particular negotiations would lead to a ceasefire and lasting peace, particularly for the people and the Palestinians in Gaza.
Well, I mean, there's a view that, nothing, if the United States of America can't force the hand of Israel, then nothing is going to happen. Is that view a very fair one? In other words, can we not say that there are factors on the side of the Palestinians as well that make arriving at a deal impossible?
Look, if we look at historically, it is quite evident that the United States, as the biggest economy in the world, the strongest military in the world, the strongest ally of Israel, over the years it has demonstrated that indeed it can go along with Israel, it can protect Israel, but at the same time it can also exert sufficient pressure on Israel if it doesn't want Israel to do certain things. And what we've seen with the Biden administration is there is not a political willingness to exert that pressure on the Netanyahu right-wing, far-right government to actually rein them in, both in terms of the war crimes and the genocide that's happening in Gaza, but also in wanting to now seek out a larger war with Iran and with Lebanon, with the Hezbollah group. So I think that it would be fair to say that in the international arena, if Israel continues unabated with the actions and the military actions that it is pursuing, then we can squarely put the blame in front of the United States because, as I said, there is an unwillingness on the part of the Biden administration to actually exert sufficient pressure to halt the sale of arms, the aid of arms and munitions to Israel. And so if there is any talk of, if there's any guilt of war crimes and genocide, then the Biden administration will have to bear their same share of that.
You have Hezbollah saying they are assessing the impact of the weekend attack and will decide whether to carry out further attacks. But what is that going to do? In other words, if you have more of what we saw yesterday, what does that mean for that part of the world?
Well, Vuyo, it is generally accepted. Analysts and war analysts are aware that Hezbollah over the years have garnered hundreds of thousands of missiles, in excess of 150,000 missiles supposedly. They have been preparing for an armed conflict with Israel. And so when they are saying they are making assessments, it's about not only northern Israel and cities like Haifa and so forth, but also looking beyond and perhaps beginning to target further afield into Tel Aviv and so on. So we unfortunately are seeing a situation that might spiral completely out of control. And remember, after the killing of the Hamas leader in Iran itself, government is beginning to look at how do they retaliate. So it seems that even though Biden does not want this a bigger war, Netanyahu is slowly but surely manufacturing it in such a way that I fear we are going to see a broader conflict.
Let's leave it there for now. Dr. Van Heerden, thanks very much for your time. All of this, of course, coming on the back of Hamas rejecting Israel's condition for a ceasefire deal in Gaza. Apparently, their delegation left Cairo last night after meeting with mediators and failing to reach an agreement.